All right, everybody, welcome back. We're diving deep today, and I've got a podcast recommendation that, well, it kind of blew me away. It's called Golden Nuggets with Juhi.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and you know me, always on the lookout for those hidden gems.
Hmm.
And we'll be looking at this article called Golden Nuggets with Juhi Podcast Insights. And let me tell you, this podcast, it's not your typical interview show, you know?
Okay, so what makes it stand out?
Well, for starters, it's all about, seeking clarity, but through these, really diverse perspectives.
I like that. Clarity is so important these days, right? With all the noise and information overload.
Exactly. It's like everyone's screaming for your attention, and this podcast, it just cuts through all of that.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So tell me more about the guests. Who's Juhi talking to?
All right, so this is the really cool part. It's not like, your typical big names or celebrities. It's more like these people who are quietly driving real change. They're consultants, leaders, people who've been in the trenches for years, really building up this deep well of wisdom.
So not the people who are always in the spotlight, but the ones who are actually getting things done. I like that.
Yeah, exactly. And the article we're looking at, it highlights 3 specific episodes, each with a guest from a completely different world. We've got Ashish Gupta. He's like this super successful entrepreneur. They call him the cosmetic king of Jaipur.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and then there's Nailish Arora, who helps families, navigate all the craziness of running their businesses together.
Oh, family businesses. That's a whole other level of complexity.
Right. And then we have Anamika Joshi. She's a spoken word poet, and she uses her platform to, share her incredibly powerful story of overcoming some, really tough challenges.
Sounds like a fascinating mix of people, and even though they come from such different backgrounds, I'm guessing there are some common threads that run through their stories.
Absolutely. And this is where it gets really interesting. I mean, one thing that stood out to me was this idea of resilience. Like, no matter what these guests have faced, they've all found a way to bounce back, to keep going.
Yeah, resilience, that's such a crucial trait, especially in today's world. So how does this theme play out in the episodes?
Okay, so for example, Ashish Gupta, he talks about finding a Sri Krishna in your life.
A Sri Krishna. Okay, I'm not familiar with that term.
Yeah, so in Hindu mythology, Sri Krishna is this, divine figure who's known for his wisdom and guidance. And Ashish uses this analogy to talk about finding a mentor, someone who can help you see your own potential, even when you doubt yourself.
Oh, I see, like a guiding force in your life, someone who helps you stay on track and make the right decisions.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be like a formal mentorship. It could be a friend, a family member, anyone who really believes in you and supports you.
That makes sense. And it makes you think about who's played that role in your own life, right?
Totally. Have you had someone like that in your life? Someone who's really helped you along the way?
I've been lucky to have several people who fit that description. Teachers, colleagues, even friends who've challenged me to think differently and push myself further. It's amazing how much impact those individuals can have on your journey.
Absolutely. It's like a ripple effect, right? The guidance and support they give you, it can spread outwards and influence others. Now, moving on to Nailish Arora, he focuses on family businesses, and he makes this really interesting point about decision-making.
Oh, I'm curious about that. Decision-making in a family business, that must be so tricky.
Right. So Nailish says that, a lot of times the biggest obstacle isn't a lack of resources or expertise, but fear.
Fear of what? Making the wrong decision.
Well, yeah, but it's more than that. He says it's the fear of how those decisions will impact family relationships. Like, what if you make a choice that upsets your parents or siblings? Or what if it creates conflict within the business?
Oh, I see. So the stakes are even higher because it's not just about the business succeeding, it's about preserving family harmony.
Exactly. And I think that resonates with everyone, don't you think? Even if you're not part of a family business, we all face decisions where, the stakes feel incredibly high, and fear can just, paralyze us, even when we know we need to take action.
Absolutely. Especially when it's a decision that could have lasting consequences for ourselves and the people we care about. Nailish's insights offer a valuable perspective on how to navigate those situations.
Right. Like, how do you balance your own aspirations with the needs of the family? How do you make those tough calls without damaging relationships? It's a real challenge. And then, we have Anamika Joshi, who talks about her own personal struggles with, financial hardship and depression.
Yeah.
And what really hit me was her perspective on surrender.
Surrender. That's an interesting concept, especially in the context of overcoming challenges.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, surrender can sometimes have this negative connotation, like you're giving up or admitting defeat. But Anamika, She frames it as an act of acceptance.
Acceptance of what?
Acceptance of what is, like acknowledging the reality of your situation, even if it's painful. And then finding the strength to move forward from that place of acceptance.
So it's not about passively resigning yourself to your circumstances, but rather about choosing to focus your energy on what you can control.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you can fight against the current or you can learn to flow with it. And sometimes that act of surrender, it can be incredibly empowering.
That's a really powerful way to look at it. And it ties back into that theme of resilience we were talking about, doesn't it? Finding that inner strength to keep going, even when things feel overwhelming.
Totally. So, we've heard from a successful entrepreneur, a family business advisor, and a spoken word poet.
Yeah.
Three very different people, three very different stories. But what's amazing is how, despite their unique journeys, they all highlight the importance of resilience, of finding those inner resources that help us navigate the ups and downs of life.
Yeah, it's like they're all saying, hey, life is going to throw you curveballs. There will be challenges, setbacks, moments where you want to give up. But you have the strength within you to overcome those obstacles. It's about finding your Sri Krishna, making those tough decisions, and yes, even surrendering to what is.
And it's inspiring, right? Knowing that other people have gone through similar struggles and come out the other side, it gives you hope. It makes you realize that you're not alone in this journey.
Absolutely. So what are your final thoughts on this podcast? Would you recommend it to our listeners?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I mean, Golden Nuggets with Juhi, it's more than just a podcast. It's like a source of, well, golden nuggets of wisdom. It's thought-provoking, it's inspiring, and it leaves you with these takeaways that you can actually apply to your own life.
Mm,
So yeah, definitely check it out. You might even discover your own golden nugget that helps you on your journey.
I think I'll do just that. Thanks for the recommendation.
Of course, happy to share the wealth.
And to our listeners, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Who are your Sri Krishnas? What decisions have you made that tested your courage and resilience? And how have you learned to embrace surrender in your own life? Share your stories with us. We're always listening.
Until next time, keep seeking those golden nuggets of wisdom.
And remember, your journey is unique and valuable, so embrace it fully.